Welcome back to Slothbox, the MMA show. Myself, James Lupton, and Jack McGann. Jack, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate.
UFC, huge show over there. Quite a few Brits on the show as well. But first, I want to talk about something that didn't happen in the cage and outside the cage. A bit of an altercation between two or future opponents, Sean Strickland and Derek Duplessis. Now, Dana White came out afterwards and said, "Listen, I made a bit of a mistake there." He looked at the seating plan, see they were sat two rows away from each other and didn't think much of it, and it backfired a little bit with Sean jumping over um, and dropping elbows. What did you make of it?
It's just a Dana White takes full responsibility, and I think that it just slipped everyone's mind because there's that much going on running a UFC event that you don't really look at the seating plan. But with someone like Strickland and Duplessis as well, um, that I doubt that mistake will happen again. But it was funny because if it was any other fighter, you'd probably look at it and go, "That's staged." Because even when Strickland's, like you see the clips of it, Strickland's there's a kid in between him and Duplessis, and he like moves the kid first, and then goes for it. But if you know Strickland and what he's like, it's 100% legit, and it's just he's probably said one of them said something, and they've jumped on it. But at the end of the day, it was a stupid thing, but no one got hurt, and now it's made the fight that bit bigger. So in the grand scheme of things, it's good for the build up, but it it could have been so much worse.
That's it. You said there's a child in between them both. So he was on like row one, Duplessis on row three, and it was Gilbert Burns' son sat
Yeah.
between row two. And like you say, he was like, right, hop over out of the way before he jumped over and, like I say, attacked him essentially. But you mentioned there, it's not staged. With Strickland, we know that's what he's like. He's a bit of a loose cannon. He, I suppose, in some ways, can be a bit of a liability in that sense. But do you think Dana could potentially looked at it and gone, do you know what? He will do something silly. Let's leave him there. Because, like you said, it has sold the fight a bit more. It's built the fight that little bit more. And it does make it a more watchable event now.
Yeah, because it's like when people have had like altercations, it's usually backstage or um walking past each other in outside the dressing rooms or on the media bit, or not like in the middle of the arena, sat next to everyone. So maybe they looked at it and went, yeah, to be sound there because there's all security around them, and they're just not going to kick off in the middle of the event. But John Strickland is not asked by what's going on. Um, maybe yeah, but as I said, it's happened now, and it's only built the fight a little bit. I just think um maybe Dane is a bit more careful now because in the past there's been fines issued, and it could have, like with Conor with the Bush and Khabib, that like nearly went out of hands, and maybe he's just that's like an extreme version of it, but maybe it might have just been a genuine mistake, honest mistake.
Absolutely. Let's get to the action. We'll start with the main event. More a case of getting out of the way rather than going too deep into it. Colby Covington took on Leon Edwards. Obviously, buzzing that Leon got the win, but it was a nice, entertaining fight. However, was it the right fight for Leon to fight to win that fight?
Um, yeah, because it's like when you watch it, it's like I said to you, if you've watched the first round, you've seen the fight pretty much, and Colby just it's just Leon obviously wants to strike, but no matter what, even if Leon wants to wrestle, Colby was just backing up all the time, and striking that makes it hard because um they can just keep sort of stepping away, and in them cages they're like 32 foot, they can just keep stepping away and keep stepping away. It's hard to get them in a corner, so it was sort of like you had two people fighting, but one person didn't want to fight, and you're watching it and you're like, oh well, maybe he's had a long time out and he's just getting into it, and but then the second round comes and it's the same again, and the third round comes and it's like, well, he's gonna have to get a move on now. But yeah, it was just weird. It was just so strange, and for the way that he spoke as well before it, to not even he didn't even pull the trigger once, and then even for Leon to be happy to um wrestle with him in the last round through choice. they had a scramble, and instead of standing up, Leon chose to go to the floor with him a little bit because you might have just been it's weird in a fight that 20 minutes of a fight like that probably felt to him like he was fighting for about 4 hours. He might have just been bored, going, well, let's just try this then, and I'm well up and whatever, and you see no danger from him, but it was just such a weird, strange fight. So weird. But my point is, like, it wasn't bad or boring because that's the way Leon fought. I think Leon had to fight like that because you only fight what's given to you, and all that was given to him was it was a negative opponent. It was like a journeyman in boxing. That's what it was like. He was just backing up and not doing much back, not trying to win, not pulling the trigger, not just being a body there, backing up.
Do you think with Leon, it was he done well to keep a cool and calm head? Because we mentioned the comments before and during fight week. We'll go into that a little bit more in depth in a minute, but because of what was said, there's probably a bit more anger, probably a bit more pressure on Leon to perform, and he's probably wanted to hurt him and knock him out more than he ever has done before after those comments that are made about Leon's dad. Do you think he done well to keep a cool, composed head to not, lunge in and put himself at any risk?
Yeah, 100%. And it's like I can't even call on that because I've never had. I think maybe that's the first time he's had that done to him. And I don't think you can. You know how you're going to respond to that. It happens to you. So I can't sit there and go, yeah, he's done boss, or yeah, that's what he meant to do. I haven't had that to experience it, so I don't know. But you put that, it's just another form of pressure, another layer of pressure on top of your main event against this guy who's got a big mouth and to the title and everything else, and it's just another layer of pressure that he dealt with. So it was just him showing why he's the champion again.
What did you make of the comments? It was along the lines of, "I'll take you to hell. Maybe we'll see your dad down there." Obviously, Leon's dad was murdered. He's passed away, etc. Is there a line? A lot of people came out after the comment was made and said, "Listen, it's a fighting game. He's done it to get under his skin. It's potentially worked. I'm okay with that." Now, what do you make of that? I mean, for me personally, as somebody who's lost a parent myself, there's a line, and you don't cross that, and that was crossed, in my opinion.
Yeah, so have I. I lost my mum when I was like 15, and I think he was a similar age when he lost his dad. And if someone ever mentions, it's one thing to say, oh, like say he didn't know and he said something about his dad, yeah, but to actually point out that talking about the death in like a funny way or trying to, it was just disgusting. And I think that I don't get it because it's one thing getting under someone's skin, but imagine if Colby won that fight, he still would have lost a load of fans and respect and everything else for the way he carries on. If you're meant to be a champion, you don't carry on like that. You know what I mean? That's like it's like desperate, like proper, like bitch behavior. So I just I just don't get it. And yeah, I think that there is a line that I don't think it's one thing, yeah, saying little funny back and forth or whatever, but not looking really personal, deep diving into stuff and trying to, But I think even if Leon let that get to him, that Kobe that turns up wouldn't have been able to do anything with him anyway. The worst form of Leon with a Kobe on making stupid mistakes out of anger still would have beat that Kobe. He was shit. Awful, it was embarrassing, especially for the way, especially to carry on talking like the way he was, to then go and perform like that. You like the end of the day, your main events in the fighting for the title, like you are the show. Leon against Colby, and for you to turn up and not even have a go, it's like robbing people of money as well, especially the way you're building it. Like how can you sit there saying, oh, like he goes on about how boring Leon is now and how he's not sellable, and you're putting this big mouth on to sell the fight, but then when the fight comes, you won't even go for it once. It's just so it just doesn't make any sense to me the way he was. So yeah, don't get it.
For me, I think with Colby, it was a case of I don't think he felt he could beat Leon. I think he was already beaten beforehand. And I think that's why he was so negative during the fight. And I think that's why he made that comment because he got desperate. I think he had to do something to try and get under Leon's skin to try and give him some sort of edge because I feel he was already beating himself mentally beforehand.
Yeah, I think maybe mm, he hasn't fought in so long, and he only got that fight because of his mouth the way he is. And like as it's coming up, you watch. You watch Leon get lucky against Usman. Never got lucky, but get beat for 5 rounds and then pull out an egg kick. And then in the next fight, completely dominate him and look amazing. And now you've got him next, and he's sitting there going, well, there's Leon who's just performed out of his skin. At home as well, when there's even more pressure. And now I've got to fight him, and I haven't fought in 2 years, and maybe he has injuries because he's getting on a little bit, or but whatever. But yeah, he definitely looked like he didn't even have like I'm gonna go for it once and then blow me loads and maybe retire for the rest of the fight. He just cruised and just like accepted defeat from the way it goes. It was so strange, and that's what I mean to talk the way you do. What the fuck? I don't get it.
I think the debate now is with Colby, especially, is does he, where does he go now? Does he look at retirement? Does he look at stepping down below that world level? Because, like you mentioned, inactivity, that wasn't the Colby that we all know. But even Dana White said afterwards, I think Father Time is catching him now. So does he call it a day or does he just step back a level or two?
Well, he's 35. He's fought for the world. That was his third crack of the whip, and didn't by no ways has ever wanted to ever have another go. But even like what you don't forget is like where does he go? Because he's a big name. So it's like you need to book him in a big fight. You can't have him on like the prelims or against someone that he's not a stepping stone. So you get stuck in this weird place where you need to be put into a big fight with that. You need to have competition against a top operator, and you're just sort of stuck. And it's like, why would they want to book him on that? No one wants to see that again. Do you know what I mean? I say that again. I know there's two people in a fight, but I believe that fight was stale because of the way Colby was, and Leon couldn't really do much with what was in front of him. So I don't know. I think maybe he was injured, maybe he was whatever. But I think it'd be fair to after 2 years off to give him one more go, and then if you talk about the time and stuff, maybe after that, then yeah. But um, I think he at least wants one more try just to see if he can. Maybe he can. Maybe his body won't let him because of the age. Um, but yeah, I think he should have one more go just to see, because 2 years is a long time, especially to jump straight in um a title fight in a 5 minute round fight. Do you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I don't think he should retire. I think he should have one more go, and then maybe after that one, it'd be like, oh yeah, defo, you best, you just leave the gloves off, or maybe it'd be like, oh no, maybe it was just 2 years out was a bit too much to jump into. But what else is he gonna do? Take a lesser fight and then maybe not get a chance or whatever. But yeah, I think he should do one more just to see where he's at.
From Dana and the promotion's point of view, do you think he's still marketable? Is he still sellable after that performance? We know he's got the mouth, we know he can build a fight up and fight week, trash talk, etc. But is he still sellable after that performance? Or like you say, can you get away with that one saying, well, inactivity, bad night at the office, another opportunity?
Yeah, I think he's 100%. He's definitely one of the biggest personalities in UFC. Even if some of the shit that comes out, most of the shit that comes out his mouth is out of order. At the end of the day, like everyone's talking about it. Dana White even said, he said after that comment, the the pay-per-view projection went up by 25%. 25%. It's a quarter. You know what I mean?
Massive.
It's massive, and that's the projections, which are always right. It's like when they do these pay-per-views, they don't guess at it. They know what they're going to hit in the media numbers leading up to it. Do you know what I mean? I know that because we used to work with them with my dad's gym, but um that 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 fact alone, that he made one comment as out of order as it was, and as much as we don't agree with it, and boosted the pay per view by 25% is massive. So I don't know, maybe see what the numbers done. If Colby sells and he's a pay per view asset, then they're gonna book him again, aren't they? But
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's definitely got a few more goals in him.
I suppose whether he, win or lose, regardless, it doesn't really matter to Dana now, does it? As long as he's making the money and he's selling
Yeah,
business,
of
that's
course.
all that matters.
Yeah, of course it is. So you know, even if it's at the end of the day, even if it's like he does one more boring fight. By the time you're watching the fight, you pay for pay per view. Then you bought it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like all these. It's like some of the um like YouTuber boxing fights that are happening at the minute. Do big massive numbers, and you're watching it going, "If I really paid for this, that's like an extreme on the other end." But that's all it is. They're not bothered. They got your money then. And I'm not saying to look at it like that, but my point is, if you can still sell, they're going to sell them.
Yeah.
And I do think you definitely need to have one more goal because you had 2 years off, and then you can have that conversation then. But yeah, that on Saturday was just weird and awful, an awful fight because of Colby, not because of Leon.
On the other side of Leon, I'm going to ask you a question because you're the fighter here. You know what it's like to, you know, get in the ring, fight, and win. Leon is now 8 years unbeaten in MMA. Do you get a sense of invincibility when you do go unbeaten for so long, and when you're winning and winning and winning, you almost forget or don't know what it's like to lose? Do you feel like that you can go in there and you're not going to lose?
No, speaking, I know people get like that, but I think it goes off your performance as well.
Mm.
Because with that, he had maybe a couple of close fights, and then he had that fight with Nick Diaz, where at the last minute he got sent on skates, and if it would have been a minute long, he probably would have got stopped. And then he had the fight where only 2 fights ago, where with Usman, where he pulls out that kick out the bag, but was 100% losing on everyone's cards up until that point. So it's not like he's been sparking everyone. It's like it's easy and whatever. Do you know what I mean? He knows that there's been a few not close calls, but if he wasn't on it, he wouldn't have won. I think he knows that. Um, so yeah, it's definitely a part of it. But I think with that, when you look at people who were like, don't know, go on big win streaks for years and years and years, it's usually when the big money fights start coming is when that attitude creeps in. I imagine. Don't know why I haven't been lucky enough to get big loads of money fights in, but I imagine that's when your attitude changes. Apart from that, you're just getting to work and going again. But I do think them little close calls are helping keep his head level and not and to stop him from disappearing up his own ass. To put it lightly.
Yeah, you're not got there yet, Jack. Not got there yet
No,
yourself.
not
Not
yet.
yet. Coming, it's coming. Um, in terms of you mentioned, obviously, he's not dominated. He's could you call it luck? You know, he's got these shots. I wouldn't say they're lucky shots, or he's got lucky with the times. But do you feel like luck will be going your way? Do you? Let's say go back to boxing analogy. Is Deontay Wilder? He's got that equalizer. He can go into a 12 round fight and lose 11 and a half rounds, and know he can probably still pull that trigger. Do you think Leon or anybody, any fighter could feel that sort of aspect of luck's on my side rather than the dominant side of it?
I think that just off tangent for the sec. I think another part thing with Leon as well. Thinking about it, he's got good people around him. 'Cause even in the last fight in with Usman before he got him with that head kick, he was like, it was one of his cornermen was like, to paraphrase, was basically saying that, like, are you giving up yet or whatever? You still need to keep going, or do you know what I'm saying? So got good people around him, but yeah, I think that when you talk about if when you use Deontay Wilder as an example, it's like Leon getting lucky isn't just um throwing something to the wall and hoping it sticks. It's just he's got great fundamentals. He's all around everywhere, and it's like if you give him an opportunity, he'll take it because he's so like well balanced everywhere. But I think with someone like Deontay Wilder, who's got that knockout power like the way he has that touch, it's not so much like, oh well, I'll get lucky. It's just sort of going. You could be right behind on a scorecard and know that well. I only need one goal. Do you know what I mean? I think that's different. Deontay Wilder's got that, which probably what we see a bit of that on the weekend. He could be behind on the cards, but he could be getting closer and closer and closer, and he only needs to do it once. Got that going on myself a little bit. Whereas it's for some of my fights out, you might pick the first or second round up, might be behind, but I'm gonna get you. And when I get you, I've got you. That's it. Don't need no more. So um, I think that maybe talking about thinking you're invincible, whatever, thinking you're invincible and whatever, that might come if Leon goes and wins another. couple more fights and comes with completions. Don't forget, he's headlining on pay-per-views, so that's when your money really goes up. You're getting a cut of it, and he should have one with Colby, who sold the fight for him.
Yeah,
I bet you he feels different about them comments after he gets his paycheck in. No, it's disgusting what he said still, but I mean, it still helped him sell the fight and get loads of money. And so, where he's getting these bigger fights all the time, maybe, but I can't see it. I think that he's too much of a, yeah, talking just about Leon, he's too much of a professional to let that happen and got the people around him, but it's always possible.
absolutely. Further down the card, Paddy Pimblett came back after, let's say, a controversial victory back a little while back now against Gordon, come back against Tony Ferguson. It was a bit of a lose-lose really for Paddy because if you lost that fight, you've lost to Tony Ferguson, who's washed. You win the fight, well, it's now a seven-fight losing streak for Ferguson, and he's not going to get really the credit he deserves. But it was a very good performance from Paddy.
Yeah, and I think, like, I thought that and Paddy said it himself, but really, that was Paddy's first fight where he's fighting someone 6 fight lose streak or not. Everyone knows Tony Ferguson. Everyone knows him in MMA. So it's not like, oh, who's Paddy fighting? Oh, let's go and Google him and let's, you know what I mean? I think that's a big thing. It was on a massive card, sold out, and I think that saying before, the only way he would have fixed all them wrongs and you know some people who sort of look at him in a different light now is if he would have either smashed to him and subbed him early or knocked him out, which he nearly did, or if it would have been a big war where he earned everyone's respect. But it was sort of it was a weird one. He nearly got him in the first. Um, Says himself he blew his load a little bit, and then it wasn't the most entertaining for the second and third. But it's still a Tony Ferguson who give out everything, who trained his ass off, 40 years of age and not, and was fit and everything else. And I think it'll do him well to get someone who was there till the end. And even though we weren't the most exciting in the second and the third, he still was never in danger and won. I'm pissed it really. So I think it was it was a perfect fight for him at that time, getting back into it.
Not only that as well, obviously, not only is it Tony Ferguson and, like you say, a well-known name, a very experienced guy in MMA, but also we mentioned Colby's inactivity, Paddy's inactivity as well. You know, he's been out for a long time, surgery. This is really potentially a dangerous fight for him to go straight back into. But like I say, he handled it very, very well. That first round was dominant. It was, really, really good first round. And like I say, he was comfortable the next two. He never looked in any danger at all, really, from that.
Yeah, and it's like that's what I mean. Tony gave a good first round as well for himself, and it's like you talk about an activity or someone who's getting on a bit. That's why I don't get the way Colby was. You just never went for it once. But anyway, yeah, Tony was good in the first round. Still landed on Paddy a few times, but Paddy's not the hardest person to hit in the world. But he had it well. He actually looked like, give him his due, his striking had improved a little bit. So it's good to see that he worked on stuff while he was out. But it's I've thought I think the longest I've had off after fighting is like 11 months, and I could really feel it. So 12 months is a long time to get back in on a big fight. Um, so fair play to him. You know what I mean? It might not be the most exciting fight in the world, but sometimes you've got to just take it as it is. And at the end of the day, he's come away and he's won. So you start rebuilding that again, and it weren't like there was nothing controversial about it this time. He pissed it, you know what I mean? And he went in trouble once, but yeah, it was a good night for him.
They always say you're only as good as your last fight and your last performance. And obviously, he's had to live with that for the last 12 months on that last performance against Gordon. Now, do you feel there's going to be a bit of pressure off for Paddy? A bit more relief?
Yeah, there'll definitely be pressure off. There'll definitely be pressure off. It's just like um, you can't really say nothing now. There'll probably still be everyone asking for that rematch, and I'm sure that what was the last kid's name? The one he had the close fight with.
Jared Gordon?
Yeah, that's it. That Gordon, he knocked someone out. He's had a good knockout in between the fight with Paddy and that one. So there'll probably be everyone screaming for a rematch for that one till it's done. But it's it was a good night for him to come back after such inactivity, and I'm happy for him.
Do you think, in regards to that Jared Gordon, it was a case of he was better than everyone thought he was because no one gave him a chance before the Paddy fight, and they all thought Paddy would walk through him, and obviously it was closer than everyone had expected. Is it just a case of Gordon was better than what we thought he would be?
No, I think Paddy that night, Paddy hurt his ankle early.
Mm.
He was being the best. Probably that had a big thing to do with it. And then Gordon's good. I think his style make fighting. Gordon had that was good with his hands. And as I said, Paddy's not Paddy's open to be hit a little bit, and he just sort of um was having success. But at the end of the day, I think that was Paddy's third or fourth fight in the UFC, and that Gordon's only had at that time about the same. It was a well matched fight. That's all it was. But I think people just Paddy's hype train was on fire at that time, and anytime people get a bit of an upset, it sort of it stings more. Do you know what I mean? There's more momentum behind it. So I don't think it was that big of a deal. I think it was more um the stuff that happened fight week with all that, the controversial stuff that happened fight week, and then afterwards, Paddy wasn't like, oh, it was a close fight and whatever. It was sort of his attitude was no, I pissed that was whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I think it was more all that. But if you just watch that fight, no other context, that first one with Gordon, yeah, you just be like, oh, it was a close fight that, but yeah, it was all. I think all the other stuff added to the madness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that could be a fight that happened in the future. But let's just see where he goes now. I've seen a picture of his ankle like blown up after the fight with Tony, and I'm sure I think it's the same one. He had the surgery on, so hopefully there's not there, and he does not have any more inactivity.
No, definitely. With Tony Ferguson, a bit of a strange one for me in the build-up was he brought in and drafted in David Goggins to his team, and he went out and so we know David Goggins for his fitness and his mental skills and things like that, and we just see videos of him running all the time. There's no real sort of combat sports or fighting knowledge or background in David Goggins, really. Why do you think that Tony Ferguson brought him in?
I'm not a clue. I thought someone thought it was a good idea. And I love David Goggins. I'm a massive, massive fan of David Goggins, but he's got he shouldn't he's got like you said he's got no experience fighting. And one thing I was really surprised with, I don't know why he was in the corner.
Mm,
That was just stupid. Like one thing we always had in the Wolfie with our lads was if we had different coaches for whatever reason, we my dad would always make sure he'd be like before they go out, right, who's in the corner? Okay, we need one voice. No point all getting different shit shouts like, yeah, there's enough madness going on, you need. So, really, if it was done properly, David should have got sold. Right, do you want to go in the corner? Okay. Um, he should have been, if he was talking, he should have been the last 10 seconds. After he's been given his instructions, after he's been told what to do, what he's going wrong, what he needs to blah, blah, blah. And then Tony can come in with some inspirational shite. That's fine. Not the first voice in, front and centre in the thing. I don't know what that was about. Just stupid. Just as far as talking as Tony's team goes, that was daft. Like it's fine if Tony's been helping you with your conditioning and stuff, and he's there for motivational reasons or to be mentally strong, and you want him in a corner, that's fine. But someone should have stepped in and said, "This is how we're doing it." Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying he couldn't give nothing to Tony if he's working there, but fight wise he can't. Do you know what I mean? So, that was the big mistake for me.
You might disagree with this, and I might be wrong. For me, it's a PR stunt. For me, it was to help sell the fight, sell Tony Ferguson a little bit more in this fight. And again, like you, just confused by the fact he was in the corner, giving, instruction. All I could hear throughout the fight was him
I know
during.
that yeah, I know that's what I mean. But if it was a PR stunt, that's fine as well. But just do it properly. At the end of the day, you can have all your PR shit going on, but Tony's the one in there fighting. He needs the best he can get out of his team. So you think his team will come on and go, "I'm not afterwards all that. Here's how we're gonna fix it." So we get both of it. You can talk last at the end. That's fine. Do you know what I mean? Not the first voice, not the loudest voice, not nothing. Because then maybe Tony focuses on what Goggins is thinking too much. I don't know. I think it was just done. It was just done poorly. Um, but yeah, it helps sell the fight a little bit. But I just don't know what. It's even like I thought when the videos were coming out of Tony training with him, I was like, well, maybe that was ages ago, and they're just using the footage now. That'd make sense. But maybe it was in the middle of camp, which is why he was so fit. But should he have been doing more specific fight specific things? Don't know, but it's done now, and I think that um anyone listening who's involved in the gym, that is a really important thing. We always had nails on. Have one voice. Say before you go out. Never mind to the fight. The coaches between you say, um, you talk now. You know what I mean? So like when we had in our MMA fights, if you've got I don't know your striking coach in the corner and your wrestling coach, the wrestling if they're on the feet or if they're on the floor, sorry, the striking coach just shut up. You'll you just don't. You need to have one voice in there. Do you know what I mean? You don't need to overload them with whatever, and that just wasn't done. So I think it was that. But having said all that, I'm a massive David Goggins fan, and I'd love to have him in my corner if I could. But he'd probably have his fucking mouth taped shut.
So, how important is that for you as a fighter? You know, when you're in the boxing ring currently, Martin Murray's there facing you between rounds. He's giving you instructions. How important is it that it's just Martin being vocal and you're taking on his instruction?
So important, so important. I can only speak for me, but I just know that I'm blessed with Martin because he's got such like a high fight IQ and can step back and see what everything for what it is, and he's always right on the money with everything. And whatever he says, I trust him on it because we've done that in the gym. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if I'm listening for someone else and I get red off him but blue off mine, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? So even if it's like, well, why is he saying red then? If Martin's saying blue, do you know what I'm saying? It just puts another. It's just something else that you haven't got to deal with in there. You just need one voice. I think it's so important. And then obviously you've got to trust. You've got to trust that voice as well. Because even like Martin might say something to me, and I'll be like, well, why or question it and do you know what I mean? So you got to. It just comes down to your relationship with your corner. But I think Tony's corner, whoever's in charge, his main coach let him down there. Proper let him down.
You mentioned twice there, trust. You got to trust your corner, trust that voice you're listening to. In during one camp with David Goggins and how much of that camp was he a part of it? You can't really build that trust with him. You can't build that rapport with him, I suppose, like you would your head trainer.
No, and it's like the other thing of it, Dave Goggins is a very like proud person, and I've listened to both his books, and he goes on. He always he uses fighters as an example a lot of the time when it comes to discipline and training. So maybe he's like sort of related to it, but he's never done it, and maybe in his head he's like, well, I don't know, sort of thinks because he trains because he is so disciplined and everything else like a fight has to be. Maybe he has got a say in it, and maybe he has earned that. Do you know, or maybe it'd be like you don't know. Maybe he's like because he has got a big ego because he's got to because of who he is and what he is. It's a big part of him. Maybe he's like, well, I can do this. But at the end of the day, it's all the only person who was got the shit at the end of that stick was Tony. Not saying the outcome would have been different if Thingo wasn't there, but it's even like if all that was going on in camp, them sessions with Goggins, well, why wasn't his trainer coming in and saying like, what are you doing? Well, that's not really working, you know, or we're gonna we're gonna cut that off 6 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? But that to me is like a Tony. Maybe you see this a lot as well. I mean, maybe Tony was like, no, well, I want to do this, and that's how we're doing it. And he hasn't had that person in the gym say, no, we're doing this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he hasn't got someone who's got the hierarchy over him in the gym.
That's it. And I suppose you need that as well. You know, you need that, like I say, one voice, that person to be the authority and say, no, listen, I'm in charge. I'm the trainer. You're the fighter. You do as I say.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why you see people who do their own training things. Like if they're the head guy in their gym, it usually doesn't work very well because like who's telling them?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know what McGregor's doing, but I think he's done that in the past where he's sort of done the camps himself, and it's you need that person over you going, no, you're doing this now, not when you want. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that was that fight anyway. It was a strange one.
Yeah, absolutely. Just finally, we're going to close the show off with a new signing for the UFC, MVP Michael Venom Page. Um, I think this signing would have been a bit more exciting a couple of years ago. I don't know if he's lost his shine a little bit. I know he went out into BKB, lost over there. He's tried, doing a bit of this and a bit of that. Is it a signing that excites you?
Yeah, like you said there, though, I do think it would have been a bigger deal a couple of years ago, and it's weird to go and do BKB and then go to the UFC. BKB is like usually what people do at the end.
Mhm.
Mind you, I don't know. Some of them are paying big good money, so maybe it makes sense. But just on the looking at it on the surface, that's your first impressions. But yeah, I think it's a good signing, and there's plenty of fights for him. Like if he's at welterweight, he could. I'd like to see him fight like Wonderboy or any elite striker like that. And he's yeah, it's something everyone's wanted to see for a good while. It's just has it waited too long? How old's MVP? I think he's in his thirties, isn't he?
That
Like
is,
mid thirties. That's what I'm saying. So it's like it's a weird time to make that jump. But you never know. You don't know, but it's exciting no matter what. Even if we did get it a little late, still exciting.
he's he's a character. He's very much like a Maverick sort of character. Will he bring that excitement and I suppose like we mentioned about Colby earlier, will he bring those extra pay-per-view buys to the UFC because of his character and how he fights and his style and like I say, he can be exciting during the fight, not just in the build-up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it'll definitely be like MVP. I've seen him fight a few times, and I think with all his extra, with his personality and all the extra bits that he puts on, he'll definitely lean into that. Because I imagine the only reason he's hasn't come to the UFC is through choice, and that's because he had better deals with the places. So now he's like, well, this is it now, I'm going to go for it. And his performance will carry over with that. I think you'll see the best version of him. But um, but yeah, it's exciting. But you know what? In MMA, you can get these older guys who are competing when they're a bit older. Do you know what I mean? So you don't know. You might be the best you've ever seen them
Mm. What about
because that adds a pressure.
yeah? What about in terms of events over in the UK and England as well now? Because obviously we've got Aspinall now who's picked up the interim title. Obviously Paddy's picked up a good win against Tony Ferguson. Obviously we've got Leon the champion there and now MVP as well. Obviously I doubt we'll see a stacked show with all these guys put on them, but the potential is there to have a massive, massive British show.
Yeah, the other massive British shows without all them names, like do you know what I mean? It's like they done one last year where Aspinall and Paddy wasn't on it when Paddy was on that big off streak when he was shitting gold. So you've got enough there where you could split it. You could have two massive shows in the year. But I do know that they love coming to London now, the UFC, and like you said there, there's plenty of real stars there. So it's good for UK MMA.
Do you think the level or the profile of MMA fighters in the UK is growing?
Yeah, it has all over the world though. It's like UFC is massive, and MMA is massive. Like kids are doing it from younger and younger. So I believe it'll end up in the Olympics and everything. So it's just like it's not like this or it's not a cage fight anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a proper sport. So um yeah, it's just growing and growing, and I think more kids are getting into want to get into MMA younger instead of like boxing or instead of that's like their sport. You know what I mean? So it's just the whole all of it's getting bigger, and UFC is right at the top of it, and it's even like the PFL buying Bellator not long ago. There's other players in town for other options. Do you know what I mean? So it is. It's huge.
Absolutely. Well, Jack, as always, pleasure speaking to you. Be a few weeks off now over Christmas and New Year, but we're back for the next UFC show, early January, mid-January, and we'll catch up again soon.
Oh, nice one, mate. And I won't see you. So Merry Christmas, and to everyone who's listening, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.